Hi, and welcome to Pony Radio. I'm Pascal Pony. This is my brother Tristan.
Hello.
And with us today is Professor Jessica Murmur.
Jessica Miles. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you, Pascal and Tristan.
Jessica Miles, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Let's take a call.
Oh, right, we have a call. We have a first call from all the way downtown. She's calling us. And yes, hello, caller. You're on the air.
Okay. Yeah, I have a question for Professor Margaret.
Professor
Oh,
Miles.
Miranda.
Miles. Professor Miles. I think my parents are getting a divorce, and I'm not sure what's going to happen to me. I mean, I don't know, where am I going to go? Can you help me?
I will definitely try. First of all, I'm sorry for what you're going through with your parents getting divorced. That's definitely a difficult time for any family.
Yeah.
Usually, with regard to child custody, the parents will talk to one another and try to work it out as far as who the child will live with. If she'll, in your case, she, or of course also in the case of a young man, he would spend time with both parents and they'll hopefully work it out. But if not, the court system is available.
Which parent would I go with? I mean, is it the parent that spends the most time?
It's the one with the better job, right?
Well, you know, that is a perception that some people have, and certainly it does, you need money to take care of a child, but that's not the most important thing. In terms of taking care of a child and in terms of custody decisions, if the court has to decide the case, they'll look at factors including who the child has been primarily raised by in the past, looking at if the child's old enough, what their preference might be. Ultimately, the court wants to decide what's in the best interest of the child. That's what they're looking at, and financial security is one part of it, but it's not it's not the only factor.
Yes.
So, and of course, that's what child support is for, so that both parents contribute to taking care of a child.
Because comic book collections can be very expensive. That's something that I've had experience with in the past. And you definitely that's part of the support system that parents can give, right?
Comic book collections can be expensive, and you know there are some children who will try to work that separation or divorce to get as many comic books as possible. But I'm sure you're not recommending that to our callers, are you?
No,
of course not.
Not at all.
No, not at all.
I support Tristan.
Okay, you do. Well, sibling relationships are important too in all kinds of families. That's absolutely true.
Do siblings tend to go together?
Well, as far as whether siblings tend to go together, yes, I would say that generally in my experience in family law, the siblings will generally live with one another, although not always. There are exceptions to that rule, but that tends to be the case. Now, sometimes siblings are happy about that and sometimes they're not, but...
I wouldn't want you to ever leave me. Don't ever leave me.
I apologize for him.
That's okay. No, that's all right. I think that's a very heartfelt sentiment. That's wonderful.
His silence was telling.
A little bit.
Did I mention I support Tristan?
Yes.
You did. Well, in a case where a family's going through a divorce or there's custody issues, a lot of times counseling is very helpful in therapy to work through some of these tensions that I'm sensing that you two might have. I mean, that might be something to think about.
Counseling?
I'm not trying to upset you here, Pascal,
Right.
but it's something a lot of people find helpful. Yes.
Do you feel we need counseling?
I don't think so.
Sometimes the courts will order it if there's a serious problem that's being played out in school or in social relationships. That can be ordered by the court as well if it's in the best interest of the child.
Let's go to another call.
Another caller. Let's see. Who do we have on the line now? Looks like we have another caller on the line. Yes, hello. You are on the air with Pony Radio. What's your question, caller?
What rights do parents have in terms of raising children regarding religion or custody?
Well, those are some good questions. Parents do have rights. They have constitutional rights with respect to their children, although the children might not always like that. They have a constitutional right to privacy to raise their children as they see fit within certain limitations. If they're unfit as parents, then the state gets involved.
What's an unfit parent?
Well, that's a very good question. It's not just they won't buy you all the comic books that you want, or the
I
toys.
told you.
What?
It's not just that they won't buy you all the toys that you want. It's that if something is interfering with them meeting the child's basic needs or rendering them abusive to the child in some way, and usually that happens if there's a mental illness problem or a substance abuse problem. There are different reasons why that might happen, but it's not just that they won't take you on vacation to Disney every year. I'm sorry. It's something more serious as far as failing to provide care that's needed or being abusive, whether physically, emotionally, something like that. Yeah.
So, like, if I'm not getting enough carrots on my daily necessity of carrots, something like that.
That would be a good example. If you were malnourished, yes. And I can see that you have some carrots here and that you've been eating them, and I'm very glad because it's important. But yes, if you were malnourished, that would be a grounds for the state to become involved and potentially remove you from the home. But the first job of the state is to try to help the parents keep the children with them and give them support. Maybe they just need help with some of the problems they're facing before they take the children away. That's the goal, is to try to make the family unit work together.
Tristan has many problems.
I don't know. He seems pretty doing well today here, but if you say so.
He does eat a lot of carrots, too.
Yeah, sometimes I get a little bit hungry.
Fair enough.
A little.
Okay.
Let's go to another caller.
Another caller. Let's see.
Who do we have next?
Who do we have on the line now? Hello, caller. Thank you for calling Pony Radio. You're on the air.
Welcome to my show, caller.
Your show?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know.
I thought it was my show. Guys, I'm your guest, right?
You are our guest, Professor Miles?
Miles. Yes,
Oh, yeah.
That's right. You got it.
But it's called Pony Radio.
Fair
so
enough. Fair
I'm
enough.
a pony. He's a pony.
Fair enough.
I'm an attorney.
I heard.
It's true. So am I. I've got a piece of paper that says so.
Oh, well, that does it then.
Seton Law, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Caller, right, you're on the air. Sorry to have forgotten about you. What's your question, caller?
What's the difference between disciplining a child and child abuse?
Well, it's a very good question, the difference between disciplining a child and child abuse. It's often a judgment call. Obviously, many families don't use physical discipline, but some still do. And so if spanking leads to marks on the body, that would definitely be a sign that it had crossed the line into physical abuse. It also depends on how often the discipline is being done and what the reason for the discipline is. Obviously, if there are behavioral problems with respect to the child that the parent's trying to address, that's one thing. But if the parent is acting out some of their own anger or some of their own issues, then that is a different story. So when there's an issue with regard to excessive discipline or concern that there might be excessive discipline, usually it's brought to the attention of the state. Here in New Jersey, the state agency that helps children is the Division of Youth and Family Services, DYFS, and they get involved. They have social workers who are trained to investigate and look at why the discipline was used, what the result was as far as any physical harm to the child or emotional harm to the child, and they talk to the families and the teachers, if there's teachers involved, to see what the situation is.
You mean when teachers are also hitting children?
Well, that I have heard that used to be a problem. I'm not familiar with that happening in general
They use rulers.
more.
I've seen it on the movies. They'll
It's
take
true.
the rulers,
Yeah.
and then especially with the very long yardstick things, and they'll walk through the things. And if you're not paying attention right, they're going to take the ruler and they're going to smack it down on the desk, and it gets very, very loud.
I have heard of that.
Very
You know,
menacing.
ponies have very sensitive hearing, so
They do.
It's not very good whenever that happens to us.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
Personally, I find yardsticks very menacing.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yes, in general, that does not happen anymore. It's certainly not permitted at public schools now that there be corporal punishment. I think that used to be more common back in the day, but I think now the cases that are generally seen are those that are in the home, and the question is, did the parent go too far? Or, I suppose it could be a babysitter as well. But yes, no, I think the days of the yardstick in the school are for the most part over.
That's good.
Has your babysitter ever taken a yardstick to you?
No, she's always been very nice. Gives me lots and lots of hay and all sorts of things.
That's good.
Yeah.
It sounds like you have a good babysitter.
Yeah, well, not anymore. now that I'm a grown lawyer.
That's right. I'm sorry, I forgot. I forgot. No, clearly.
I find my own ways to sort of to pass the time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for inviting me to be on Pony Radio. It was a great honor. I very much appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Professor Mildred. This was very nice.
Professor Miles, yes, thank you.
Right.
It was a pleasure.
Professor Miles.
Yes, thank you.